All right, hi everybody, John Meadows here. Today I want to pick out 7 foods that should be in everybody's diets. Now I should put a disclaimer on there. If you're allergic to, say, eggs, then you don't want to put eggs in your diet. So I do have to put a disclaimer in there. And the truth is there's hundreds of foods that are great. And even though there's this movement now to say that foods aren't good and bad, like let's just be honest here, some foods have a lot more nutritional value than other foods. Um, People are going out of their minds and forgetting that. But I do think there are some foods that are just plain loaded full of good micronutrients, and they just are good. They're nutritious. So number one on my list is eggs. Now, organic eggs. So organic eggs, not the egg white, the whole egg. I do prefer that they be organic. I prefer that if you can get them from a farm, do that. Preferably a farm where chickens are free to roam. You have to be, the labeling is kind of weird these days. Like they'll say something is free range, which tells you, oh, the chickens are out running around, they're happy, but sometimes they just have a little tiny door that gives them access to the outside, but they never actually go to the outside. But anyways, I like to get my eggs from a farm where I can see the chickens running around. Now, I just happen to get mine from Dr. Serrano, who lives an hour and a half away from me, and I can go over there and I can literally see the chickens running all over the yard during the day. And you'll always see the yolks are much more yellowish orange. There's a lot more carotenes in the yolk, and they just taste better too. Sometimes you can go to the grocery and you get the cheap eggs. I think they're so runny they just fall through your hand, and the yolks are almost see-through. There's a clear difference when you've had these kind of good eggs versus eggs that aren't so good. And eggs are great. Eggs have just about every vitamin in them that you could ask for, except for vitamin C. They don't have any vitamin C in it, but they've got some of the fat-soluble vitamins in them. And then they have the fat in it so that the fat-soluble vitamins can be absorbed and incorporated into your structures appropriately. So, and then they've got some healthy stuff in it. There's some sulfuric compounds in it that kind of help cleanse your liver. That's why eggs kind of smell a little funny sometimes, but it's actually a good thing. So perfect protein, healthy fat. So I think like eggs would be number one on my list. All right, number 2 on my list is wild salmon. Wild caught salmon. So wild salmon, as the name implies, is just running around in the ocean on its own, eating its normal diet, which is these little fish called krill, these little tiny crustaceans. And the farmed fish, usually you'll see it as Atlantic salmon, but it'll say on the package farmed. Those fish are kind of kept in close quarters. They feed them an unnatural diet. They give them a lot of antibiotics for disease prevention, or so they don't get sick, I should say. When they tested them, I've seen tests where they had high levels of PCBs, which is a contaminant. And actually those fish, when you see them, they're actually gray. They're really nasty looking. So they have to color them as well so that they look orange, and everybody in the grocery store thinks, oh yeah, I got some great salmon. I personally am kind of disgusted by the farm fish, particularly the farm salmon. So I would encourage you to eat the wild salmon. Usually it's going to be Alaskan, or it's going to say sockeye, or a couple instances, but it'll say on there. And the canned salmon you get most of the time that's wild too. You've seen me make the salmon burgers before. That was wild salmon. But salmon is another real high quality protein. Plus it has essential fatty acids that you need in it. You'll hear people talk about EPA and DHA. Those are essential fatty acids that you have to get from your diet. Meaning your body can't make it itself. And the EFAs have been shown to do just all kinds of healthy things. It's good to reduce inflammation in your body. It's good for insulin sensitivity. There's it's good for your blood flow, so your blood doesn't get too thick. But absolutely top of the line food is wild Alaskan salmon, and I would put that at number 2. All right, 3rd on our list is almonds. Almonds are a very impressive nut, very, very good for you. You always hear them called heart healthy because of the monounsaturated fats in it. But they're actually one of the few alkaline forming nuts that are out there. You always hear about our diets being so acidic and how harmful that can be. Well, these are actually alkaline forming because they have calcium in it, which can be hard to get to your diet. They have magnesium, which that is responsible for all kinds of different actions, muscle contractions being one of them, heart health being one of them. And potassium, I think we underestimate how much potassium we need. You want to make sure you eat them in the raw form. Now, when I say raw, they're still processed, I'll say. So they're not like true raw. But as opposed to, heated 20 times and 10 coats of sugary stuff added to it. So, raw almonds are awesome, nutritional powerhouse. They also stabilize blood sugar levels, and any healthy fat in general is going to help do that. They slow the entry of glucose into your bloodstream. A lot of people talk about they don't like to combine fats and carbs, and I understand why they think that. They think that carbohydrates cause insulin response, which it absolutely does, and then you store whatever's in your blood, and they think, well, if I eat fat too, it's going to just store all this fat. That's not good thinking. They haven't thought through the whole scenario. Whether something is stored as fat or not is going to depend largely on the person's overall caloric consumption for the day. And again, I think if you actually combine fats and carbs, you actually slow down that glucose response. And we want stable levels of glucose. We don't want our glucose shooting up and down all day, telling your pancreas to crank out insulin on and off all day real hard. So just another good reason to like almonds. Certainly there are many other healthy nuts as well. That's just the one I picked for today. All right, number 4 on the list is kind of a late comer. It hasn't been on many lists until the last 5-10 years. Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is pretty amazing. When I say dark chocolate, you can think of the unsweetened cocoa powder that you'll see, or you can think of the raw cacao nibs that are usually those are in like health food stores, or you'll see the dark chocolate bars, normally like 85% or more is what you want to see. Although you do get benefits from 70-75%. But anyway, probably the raw cacao nibs are the ones that have the most benefits. Now, when I say benefits, dark chocolate has more than double the antioxidants of any fruit or vegetable. And I love blueberries. I've talked about them a lot, even more than blueberries. And it has a flavonoid in it called epicatechin. I can never say that right, but you've probably seen it. It's in a lot of supplements. It's pretty amazing. It helps prevent oxidation of cholesterol in your body. It can drive up your HDL, can control your LDL. It also can keep your platelets from getting sticky in your blood, so you have better, your blood flow is better, kind of like you'd get with a baby aspirin. So a lot of really amazing health benefits with dark chocolate. Now you got to look at the labels though. You want to make sure you're not getting the ones that say like Dutch treated. And certainly just eating a regular chocolate bar isn't going to cut it. Loaded with sugar, that's not going to cut it. That's not what I'm talking about. But anyway, so this ingredient is going to get its own video here because I could go into a lot more detail about it, but I just want to hit it at a high level today. So, if you're eating a quarter of an ounce, half an ounce a day, it's absolutely A-okay, and it's doing some awesome things for you. I didn't even mention theobromine. There's all kinds of good stuff in dark chocolate. Just take my word for it and put a little bit in your diet every day. All right, next up on the list, number 5, I have greens. Now, that could be kale greens, dandelion greens, mustard greens. Greens are fantastic. The darker the green, usually the more chlorophyll it has in it. That's important because chlorophyll can literally suck up, we'll say toxins, bad stuff from your blood. You hear people trying to sell all these diets and these teas and all this stuff that are supposed to cleanse you. Well, if you want to cleanse, just eating some greens every day will do plenty. That's all you really need, a serving or two of greens. It also has a lot of vitamins in it. It has a lot of vitamin C in it, actually, vitamin A, vitamin K, even calcium. So kind of well-rounded in terms of micronutrients as well. It also helps create bile. Bile is a substance that helps remove waste from your organs in your blood. So chlorophyll helps with bile, micronutrients. Very, very good addition to your diet. Greens, that's number 5. All right, number 6 on the list is Evo extra virgin olive oil. I like to put that in all my clients' diets. It's a monounsaturated fat that, you always hear it being called the heart healthy fat, which means it drives your HDL, your high density lipoprotein. It's not really a type of cholesterol. But anyways, it's a good thing. You want high HDL. And extra virgin olive oil drives that. And if you look at all the research on life extension and quality of life and things like that, you'll see a lot of data that goes back to the Mediterranean diet and diets that use a lot of extra virgin olive oil. I think it's great for your health. Doesn't necessarily always taste the best, if you just eat it out of a tablespoon, but it's good on salads and various like balsamic vinegar combinations with it and things like that. So it's good as a salad topper. The one thing I would say is be careful cooking it. If you oxidize it, if you use it to cook in high heat, you're going to negate all the benefits, and actually then it's not so good. It can go rancid. So I personally don't like to cook with it. I don't like to take the risk, but if you do cook with it, just make sure you're only cooking on low heat. And number 7 on my list is avocado. It's actually a fruit. I think there are some people that still think it's a vegetable, but it's actually a fruit. And a lot of micronutrients, a lot of vitamin A, vitamin B. It has like a lutein in it for your eyes, which I could use some help with. Has a lot of fiber in it, a lot of potassium, more potassium than bananas. A lot of people kind of think bananas is the ultimate potassium food. Avocado actually has even more potassium than a banana. And again, it's a heart healthy fat, monounsaturated, just like I mentioned with extra virgin olive oil. So another good one for heart health, good for longevity. But probably avocado would probably also be my favorite thing to put on eggs. I like to put a little bit of avocado on eggs. So anyways, there you have it. We have organic eggs, wild Alaskan salmon, almonds, dark chocolate, greens, Evo, and avocado. Again, there's obviously hundreds of awesome foods out there that I didn't mention, but those are 7 that I think if you're eating those 7, you've got a real good sound foundation in your diet for health and longevity. So I would encourage you to look those foods up, see if they work for you, make sure you're not allergic to them or anything like that. Put in your diet and get even more healthy. Thanks for watching.